Hey, Steve Zook, welcome back to Polk Channel and the Guitar Letter System. Hey, I deal in a very, I've been, buying and selling and collecting guitars over 30 years. I deal in a very small amount these days just because I have a lot of other things going on. But I really look for guitars that have the mojo and the magic, and I've said it a million times, they're few and far between. Even the same brand, the same make, the same model, they're not all the same. They vary greatly. Anybody with a lot of experience out there know what I'm talking about. But this recently I got a hold of, and pretty interesting guitar made in 2001. It reminds me a lot of like a high-end Gibson guitar. I used to have a real Gibson 59 ES 175. I also had a 62 real vintage, as well. 175 Gibson. I've had L5s. I had a 59 ES 345. This guitar reminds me a lot of a really good old valuable Gibson in the tone and everything. But I swear it has even more depth to it. It's a little noisy, I know. There's a bloom to the tone. You probably won't be able to hear it because I have the mic a long ways away. But there's a ring to the tone. I think it's from the Rosewood body. There's a ring to the tone, kind of a blooming of the tone that's really incredible. There's a lot of depth to this guitar. It also sounds incredible on the sounds really good on the bridge pickup. It sounds really good on overdrive. I hardly have any volume on this, by the way. Anyway, I'm mostly trying to show the clean right now, which is just unbelievable. But it's just got a depth to it. You can hear like it's so hard to describe tone, but it's got a lot of body. And I'll tell you, folks, the magic of a hollow body guitar is in the mid-range and the mid-bass. Most archtop guitars are super weak in the mid-range and the mid-bass. They just don't have that mid-bass, which gives you that kind of wooden bell type quality. This guitar, and I'm using a just sounds incredible. I always can tell you, I'm really more into acoustic guitar these days. But I got this guitar, I put some new strings on, I lowered the action a little bit, I kind of dialed it in, and it just fell into the most incredible setup. The setup on this guitar is unbelievable. And I really think this is one of the top couple guitars I've ever had at any price. It just has a ring to it, and like I said, strong mid-range and mid-bass. And you just, this guitar, it's really hard to talk about this guitar without kind of sounding like I'm overselling, but I'm not. It's just a really, really rare, very musical, very resonant instrument. It just has such a ring, and then the jazz tone. And I'm using an old solid state amp I paid $150 for. But see, the notes have the full mid-range, mid-bass, bass, and treble. But the treble is really musical. It's not just like a thin, whiny treble. The treble has. like I said, and here's a little less. Now, how come I'm not getting anything on that? Hang on, let me make an adjustment here. Something changed on here. There we go. Now here's with just a little bit of overdrive. I think my knob's a little dirty on this particular knob on my amp. Anyway, it just sounds unbelievable. I hardly have any volume too. I should probably turn up the volume a little bit, but I'm just trying to do a real quick demo here. I don't even have this on reverb yet, or anyway, I prefer just to sell it. I really don't even know if I want to sell it, but I mean, I just can't fall in love with everything cool I get. Even the overdrive on a solid state amp sounds really good. Just has a really musical, it's got that quality. But yeah, the real acid test of any guitar is the clean. This guitar has that kind of bloomy tone with body to it, and the jazz sound on the neck pickup is just insane. I mean, it just doesn't get any. It reminds me a lot of an old Gibson L5, which is $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 guitar or more. Some of the old L5s are 30 grand. Hear that sustain? Just sounds absolutely beautiful, man, This would be a great guitar for the guitar ladder system. Here's cycle 1. If you really want to make some progress on guitar, just order the guitar ladder system. You'll take a quantum leap. Go to stevesguitars.com, invest the $199. I really hate to say this, but it's really true. It'll change your life. It sounds so corny, right? It's like, yeah, right. You know what I mean? I'm serious. It's going to wait. You're going to create a musical mind. You're going to create a musical ear. You're going to wake up talent you didn't even know you had. And that's not bullshit. But listen to that tone. I might be getting a little distortion because I'm just using a $100 Zoom Q3, and this amp has a fair amount of. But hear how. Like it has the depth of a great jazz guitar, but it's got kind of a chimey, bloomy, yet still warm, defined, yet like a wooden bell tone that goes with it. It's just tone doesn't get any better than this, folks. Bichord to a little contrary motion. This thing all day. It just sounds unreal, doesn't it? But see, it's that like I said, most jazz guitars are okay at the kind of dark west smoky jazz tone, but there's no tone to it. The trick is to get that beautiful jazz tone, or just good clean tone, but also the tone has to include the mids, the treble, the bass, the mid bass, and it has to have bloom. It has to kind of unfold, the tone, and that's what this has. Listen to that, man. It's like crystal clear. That's crystal clear, but still warm. What a guitar. really get a miss. And then, like I said, even the overdrive. Here's more overdrive. But this is a solid state amp, so you know. But yeah, this is a hard one to let go. Really hard one to let go of. The rosewood just gives it this kind of resonance and musicality that I don't hear even in like an expensive guitar for 8, 9, 10 grand or more. I don't know if you've ever owned a rosewood. For you guys out there that are players, have had a lot of experience, like me, you know, and other people. A rosewood telly is really a special sound with the rosewood body and rosewood neck. It's kind of the same thing with this. The rosewood gives this guitar a bloom. It gives it a resonance, a musicality. The rosewood gives this guitar, and the pickups just sound unbelievable. They sound like real PAF pickups. I think they're the Super 58s. But yeah, this is really, like I said, I can always tell a great guitar because I like playing it. I like playing on the treble pickup as well. But yeah, I think body this guitar reminds me of an old like wooden, you know, like a wooden bell made from old mountain wood or something. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. The rosewood gives this guitar a quality that's very, very musical, very, very resonant, really good sustain. You can hear it's like it's crystal clear, but it's also got that kind of, you know, jazzy tone that we all love in a great archtop. It's really hard to find this tone, by the way. Like I said, I used to have a 62 ES 175, a real vintage one, the same year Joe Pass had, and I studied with Joe Pass when I was about 22. But I like the 175, but I'm not just saying this because it sounds good. I like the sound of this better. This has more. The 175 sounded really good, but it was weak in the mid bass, which is where most guitars are weak. I wouldn't be, and these were made in very limited numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if this was made for a trade show or an investor meeting or something, because they just dialed it in. And I got this thing playing unbelievable. I have the action really low and cozy, and everything sounds good. I might just slightly raise it here, but I've got this thing playing like a dream. You can hear that. Hear how it sounds beautiful, but it's crystal clear. Tone doesn't get better than this, folks. So I don't know. This is a hard one for me to let go of, but I can't fall in love with all my cool stuff, you know. And it's just an absolutely stunning guitar. It looks really, really great. I did find a little bit of scratch. They're kind of hard to find because of the color, but I think I found a little area here in the back where there's a few little scratches or marks or something. You might see some kind of a subtle, you know, finish lacquer type thing, you know, scratches somewhere. It looks pretty damn good though. I'd give this guitar maybe around a 9 or so. I'm having trouble finding the scratches on the back, but because they kind of blend in, but I can't even see them right now. But I'd rather say it than not say it. But yeah, this is a lot of guitar. This guitar's got a lot of old Gibson in it, and that's not sales hype or sales bullshit. It's got a lot of old Gibson in the tone and the feel and the way the neck is set into the body. Somebody spent a lot of time on this, and even though it was made in '01, I wouldn't be surprised if the wood's even a little bit older than that, because it just sounds incredible, you know. And I think the body, I haven't measured it exactly, but I think the body width is somewhere around 15 and a half, somewhere like that. But pickups, like I said, they sound like PAFs to me. I think this guitar was kind of more like a custom shop thing. Maybe they made, like I said, maybe they made very limited numbers of these, but I think they made some maybe for trade shows and to kind of break into the market, maybe for investor meetings and stuff. This is just an incredible guitar. Anywho, it's really hard to let stuff like this go because I love a guitar like this. And like I said, it just looks so beautiful. But yeah, it's not just the looks. The rosewood adds a resonance to it, a musicality that you don't hear often. like I said, most guitars, I don't care how much you spend, are weak in the mids and weak in the mid bass. They don't have that bloom, that resonance, that tone that kind of you can even hear it when it rings out on a. Now, I'm a long way from the mics, and these are super cheap mics, but hear how even unplugged, it's got that ring to it. And then when you add the that sustain, that's really good sustain. Incredible guitar. Okay, folks, if you want to get in touch, text or call 714-548-0385 or email me stevezook7@yahoo.com. That's 7 the number, not spelled out, so STEVEZOOK 7@yahoo.com. Really gonna miss this one. God, prefer just to sell it off of YouTube. I don't really feel like paying extra fees for reverb on this one, but yeah, it's a really hard guitar for me to let go of because it just sounds. I used to have an early 70s Gibson L5 that was worth quite a bit, and this guitar actually sounds better. The L5 sounded beautiful, no doubt, but it didn't have the same sparkle. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for, kind of a crystalline sparkle in the mid bass, mids, treble, and an overall kind of orchestral balance between all those different tones. And like I said, a bloom to the tone. It's just, tone doesn't get better than this guitar. I don't care if you spend 30 grand. It doesn't get better. All right, folks, take care.